Good day, grade 9 students. Welcome back to another episode equipped with fun learning, mental exercise, and in-depth reflection. I am Larry John V. Templo from Santa Ana National High School, your teacher broadcaster in this episode. Today, we will discuss the second half of Quarter 3, Module 3. To start, let us have a quick review on the previous teleradio episode. I'm sure that you still remember it. What was it all about? Yes, you got it right. It was about determining fake news from real ones and deciphering what's fake and what's real. Now, as a short recap, let me ask you these questions. How are you going to spot fake news from real ones? What is the right thing to do when you spot fake news? What is fake news and why do people create it? To answer these questions, let me show you a picture and let us decipher whether it is real or fake. So, what do you think about the news headline you have just seen? Do you think it's real or fake? How sure are you? In order to spot fake news from real ones, we ought to consider the source of the news article and all the other stories coming from that news source. Do they sound genuine? Is the website authentic? Does the news story appear one-sided, or does it lean toward a specific point of view? Moreover, consider the article's creator. Is there proof that it is a genuine individual and not a ghost or a fake person? To be sure, look for the source and creator to see what else they have distributed and what kind of feedback they usually get from their readers. Now, going back to the news article about Mayor Inday Sara Duterte, well, that is definitely fake news. 100% false. According to a news outlet you may never heard before, News 360, the Davao City mayor was rushed to the hospital after complaints of chest pains. It also claimed that her death was confirmed by her brother, who was previously the city vice mayor Paulo Duterte, on Twitter. However, Mayor Sara sarcastically confirmed her own death in response to this fake news and online trolling. Fake news and trolling have recently become a serious concern in the Philippines, especially in politics, where political camps accuse each other of perpetrating such things. What is the right thing to do when you spot fake news? While it's never okay to spread fake news, it is okay to comment on these posted fake stories with your own corrections to help set the record straight. What is fake news and why do people create it? Fake news is any information that is deliberately meant to be largely false or misleading. Motivations for creating fake news include financial gain, by clickbaiting or getting people to click on websites so that they will be exposed to advertising. Moreover, fake news are also used to persuade others to take an action, purchase a product, or support or oppose a cause or a political candidate. And for some people, they perpetuate fake news just for the sake of deceiving people or as a prank. In today's society, we are often bombarded with a lot of information. Most of these are helpful, but there are some that seem to be misleading. In viewing news, video clips, movie trailers, Facebook posts, or YouTube materials, you may come across a lot of fabricating contents which are intentionally or unintentionally crafted with the purpose of destroying somebody's reputation. But determining which details are relevant and truthful prevents you to commit bias and prejudice. That is why it is very important to know all the different types of information disorders for you to be aware of the different phases of fake news. You have already started learning about these in the previous Teleradio episode. Are you ready to proceed? Let's go! In this episode, it is my aim that you will be able to identify the contents in the materials viewed. Second, identify the last three types of information disorders. Third, infer the critical issues brought up in the material viewed. And fourth, determine the relevance and truthfulness of the ideas presented in the material viewed. In this lesson, you will come across with different activities that will further develop your analytical skills. You will likewise learn the last three types of information disorders in continuation of the last episode. Now, let's recall the 7 types of information disorders. Can you name the first 4 types that you have already learned? Perfect! These are fabricated content, imposter content, misleading content, and satire or parody. Now, let us tackle the 5th, 6th, and 7th information disorders. The 5th type of information disorder is false connection. This type of information disorder happens when headlines, visuals, and captions do not support the caption. Let's check out this article that was posted on Facebook. Students, how believable is this post? The caption says, "Tree planting is an awesome way to fight climate change." However, notice the photo featured in this post. Do you think the image used here supports the content about tree planting? Exactly, it does not. The picture depicts no tree planting activity. Instead, it shows the beauty of natural resources. Obviously, this is shown only to deceive the readers. Remember that when a headline, visual, or caption do not support the content, this could be fake news, and it is an example of false connection. Let's continue with the 6th type of information disorder, false content. This happens when genuine content is shared with false context information. This kind of fake news uses genuine or real content but recirculated out of its original context. For example, the image that you see on your screen was taken in Vietnam in the year 2007. But years later, it was shared again under the guise that it was a photograph of Nepal in the aftermath of the earthquake in 2015. In this way, real content is being used in false context. Last but not the least, the 7th type of information disorder is manipulated content. The content of any kind of media is manipulated when an aspect of genuine content is altered or changed for the purpose of deceiving its viewers. This relates more often to photos and videos. On your screen, you can see a photo of people lining up and an immigration police officer arresting an individual at the back of the line. This was posted during the 2016 US presidential elections with an alarming caption that reads, "Immigration police arresting people at voting booths." This statement can be found shocking and scary, especially for immigrants or foreign people living in America who just wanted to exercise their right to vote. When they see this, they might no longer vote for fear of being arrested, or it might make them too angry to protest the police. However, let us examine the next set of pictures. You may have noticed that the photo posted was the result of two separate images that were stitched together to change the story, making it 100% fake news. The use of photo editing made it look believable that the arrest happened at the voting location. Without verifying what you see in social media, there is a chance that you or anyone you know can be manipulated with intentionally wrong information. Students, you have just learned the last 3 types of information disorders, and I hope that you have learned the importance of carefully examining photos and videos to determine what is fake and what's not. Now, let us practice to see how much you've understood our lesson. You may open your self-learning module on page 12 under Let Us Practice More, activity number 3, Examine Me. You will need to analyze the image with a caption that says, "Does drinking alcohol prevent coronavirus?" and determine which type of information disorder it portrays. Justify your answer by jotting down its characteristics using the graphic organizer that you will see on your screen. I have given you a sample answer as your guide. That is, photo does not accurately represent the caption. Were you able to add 3 more ideas to complete the graphic organizer? Fantastic! You can always use this graphic organizer as a guide in determining the relevance and truthfulness of the posts you see in your newsfeed. This time, let us solidify your learning by doing Activity 4 entitled Cite the Importance under Let Us Remember, found on page 13 in your self-learning module. Let's answer the questions. Number 1. Why is it important to know the truthfulness of the information? Question number 2. What are the different types of information disorders? Number 3. What are the other things to consider in determining the truth? Number 4. Were you able to easily judge the truthfulness of the statements? How so? Excellent! You are now able to digest all the information discussed in this module. To continue, let us measure your understanding by answering the activity under Let Us Assess, found on pages 14 to 18, to be followed by Let Us Enhance on pages 18 to 22. Take a peek of the few sample items for each learning phase as your guide to these key stages. These are the few questions under Let Us Assess. Direction: select the best answers for the following questions and write the letter of your choice on your answer sheet. Question number 1. What makes this image an imposter content? A. It falsely uses a well-known name. B. It uses humor or exaggeration to critique or mock a person, organization, or policy. C. It takes an image, a quote, or other piece of content and puts it into a new false context to change its meaning. D. It makes changes from the original. What do you think is the correct answer? You're right! The answer is letter D. The current material makes changes from the original one. Question number 2. While doing a research paper on the material effects of nuclear radiation, you stumble on this picture posted online. How do you know whether the posted image is true or false? in spotting a fake image, which of the following steps is false? A. Pay attention to reflections. B. Search for identical patterns. C. Beware of low-quality images. D. Do not use a reverse image search. Can you tell me what the correct answer is? You're right! The correct answer is letter D. Do not use a reverse image search. Question number 3. What makes this image an example of satire? A. It falsely uses a well-known name. B. It uses humor or exaggeration to critique or mock a person, organization, or policy. C. It takes an image, a quote, or other piece of content and puts it into a new false context to change its meaning. D. It makes changes from the original. This time, which one is the correct answer? You're right! The answer is letter B. It uses humor or exaggeration to critique or mock a person, organization, or policy. To further test your skills in this topic, let's proceed to the next activity. These are some questions under Let Us Test Ourselves on pages 18 to 22 of your module. Question number 1. What makes this screenshot of COVID-19 news reliable? A. The pieces of information are complete. B. The information presented are true and reliable, although screenshot may have included the title of the material. C. There is a link diverting the reader to the most reliable source information provider on COVID-19, which is WHO. Letter D. It's the author and other physical elements that would prove the information are truly based from facts. The correct answer is letter C. There's a link diverting the reader to the most reliable source of information provider on COVID-19, which is WHO. Question number 2. What makes this material unreliable? A. Lack of evidences. B. Grammatical errors. C. Both A and B. D. Questionable answer. The correct answer is letter C. A and B. The material lacks of evidences and it contains grammatical errors. Question number 3. Which among the information disorders can be observed in this material? A. False connection. B. Fabricated content. C. Imposter content. D. False content. The correct answer is letter B. Fabricated content. New content is 100% false, designated to deceive and do harm. Now, we are down to the last key stage of this topic where we get to reflect on everything we have learned in this lesson. I'd like you to ponder on the Venn diagram that you see on your screen, which sums up our topic in Quarter 3, Module 3. Let us remember that in order to counter the spread of false information in this age of data, we need to distinguish the intent of these information disorders. When we simply assume that everything we see or read on social media is just another fake news, it makes us doubt what we perceive as real and true, and this ultimately reduces our trust in journalism. Take note of these 3 terms: misinformation, disinformation, and malinformation. Under these 3 major disinformation labels are the varied types of information disorders that you are now familiar of. It is important to know which information is just false and which has the intent to harm. Students, Your journey through this lesson has come to an end. I hope that you will not forget what fake news is and how dangerous it can be. Thus, we should not tolerate it. Instead, we have to be vigilant and watchful in everything that we say, hear, see, or even read in print or in social media. We need to be totally responsible in sharing accurate and reliable information to others so we can create a world free from doubt and deceit. And through this, we can live a life with a genuine heart and an unpolluted mind. This has been your teacher broadcaster Larry John B. Templo of Santa Ana National High School, telling you to never say no to learning. Godspeed and have a nice day ahead.